Hello, good evening, and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation podcast live with me, your host, Owen James. Guys, it is not the Sunday that we wanted, not the end to the season that we wanted, and not how we wanted to be finishing off this season, and certainly not how I wanted to be having the final word after our final game of the season. Lots of you already commenting. We'll get to your comments very shortly. This is all about you tonight, guys. It is me tonight and you talking about that game yesterday, talking about what happened yesterday and sort of starting to look a little bit ahead to the future. We will be doing a season review podcast tomorrow. Myself and the Curry Muncher, the man himself, will be here to talk all things Rangers from 8:35 onwards tomorrow night. So please obviously come and join us for that. Well, it is all over. It's finished. It's a season of highs, a season of lows, a season of far too many lows for me. Just a season that promised and a season that dashed, a season that began so badly, peaked in the middle and then just fell away shockingly badly. Is it all down to injuries? Is it down to poor tactics? Is it down to the start we got, or is it down simply to the manager and the players, who is primarily to blame for this end to the season? Guys, I am currently running a poll. Should Canwell be sold in the summer? Yes or no? Get your vote in. Currently, 42% say yes, 58% say no, he shouldn't. There was, of course, the, let's say, interesting incident between himself and the manager at full time yesterday. Quite what went on and what was said, I don't know. But there is a video currently out on the channel. If you have not seen it yet, please obviously check it out after the podcast. A reminder as well, all the places you can find the channel are currently scrolling along the bottom of the screen. Right, guys, let's get to your thoughts for tonight as we finish off this season with Rangers, as we just kind of try and make sense of what happened yesterday. At least it's over, and Butland made me look a tool yesterday, lol, giving all the super Butland, for fuck's sake, but really Scott Wright should have done better. That's the difference between us and them. We make too many mistakes. I agree with that one, although we do make a lot of critical mistakes at the wrong time. Yesterday, I think the goal was partly Butland. I think, palming it. Look, as a keeper, as I think I said on the video this morning, and yesterday, as a keeper, when I started off life as a goalkeeper, I'm not saying I'm anywhere near as good as Jack Butland. I'm certainly not. I wasn't that great at all. But when you're a keeper, he palms it out in front of him. When you're a keeper, if you are not going to catch the ball, you're taught to push it to the side and push it away from the centre of the goal. That's the worst place to put it. Although he shouldn't even get the shot away in the first place. Ben Davies should be closing him down, not running back away. It's like I said, mate, there's a whole lot of mistakes, a whole lot of issues surrounding that goal yesterday. It was not just Jack Butland. And I think, if you're kind of just saying it's Jack Butland's fault and it's solely down to Jack Butland, it's not fair to say that. A goal doesn't come from just one person. A goal comes from a number of mistakes leading to it. And if you look at that, how Scott Wright cannot control a ball that's 5 yards away from him, how, he loses the ball, how then obviously that Paolo Bernardo, or whatever he's called, is allowed to just run with the ball, how O'Reilly is just then allowed to shoot. And then obviously none of our players follow the shot in. So there's a whole series of things, I believe, wrong with what happened yesterday. See this window. I want Clement to buy players, not just to fit his system, but players so we can change it up. Sick of seeing the 4-2-3-1. We need to change tactics depending on the opposition, says Stuart. I think, to be honest with you, there's got to be approach. There has to be a flexibility of tactics, a flexibility of how you play teams. Even the best managers, the greatest managers in world football at the moment, vary their tactics depending on who they're playing. The Pep Guardiolas, Jurgen Klopps of this world, Carlo Ancelotti's vary the way they play, vary how they attack and defend. And sometimes you see teams written down as a 4-2-3-1, but perhaps going forward they're more a sort of 3-5-2 or 3-4-3, or defending they're more of a 5. You see a lot of variation on that one. Stuart says, if the board don't want to get the cash out and get us to stay at the top level, they just need to off and get other people who care. A point there from Stuart there. Although we're turning into always thinking about the past, it's a joke. What else have we got here? Aldo says in the live chat, that's the problem. We hold on to the past because it was our success, because the future looks bad with the bottlers we have now. I think that is always going to be an issue. You know, we do look to the past, we do look to our success in the past and how we performed. Of course we do. You know, it is a situation where we were phenomenally successful in the past. We were phenomenally the team, you know, that was the main team in the past. And we always look back to that. And then since 2012, it has not been a great picture, has it? You know, 3 trophies in that period, 1 Europa League final. It's not what this club is used to. This club is about winning league titles. It's about winning doubles. It's about winning trebles. It's about progressing in Europe. And we're not seeing that. And we need to see, we need to see something. We need to see a big summer ahead. And personally, I am excited for the summer as to what is upcoming. And I'm worried as well about the summer. I think there's a whole mixture of emotions. But we'll talk about the future sort of on a later pod. We want to think more about yesterday. I exactly think it's grim. Even think about how much our standards have dropped from the way we were down. I think our standards have dropped massively. Tav, a legend, my arse, says, although Stuart, the scary thing, they said they had no money to buy one after only spending about 7 million in the summer evening. CJ, how you doing, buddy? That goal, Hart was milking, for fuck's sake, but Raskin should have never left his arms. Yeah, can we reverse Hall of Fame status? Interesting that one, buddy. I agree with that comment from David. Now, look, I'll be honest with you. I mean, let's look at the graphic. I've still got it. I don't know if I've still got it or not. But here it is, right? So this is the in foul yesterday, right? So what I want to know is from this incident yesterday, I want to know what's the primary problem here? Is it that Greg Taylor has his arms around Nicholas Raskin, or is it that Raskin then pushes Hart? Now, I don't think for a minute that Hart needs to get a push in the back, because I don't think for a minute that Hart's getting anywhere near that ball, if I'm being honest with you. But if you look at that, Greg Taylor is quite clearly fouling Nicholas Raskin. Is him sticking his arms out and pushing out, him trying to get away from Taylor? You've got a whole issue around that. So for me, that was a penalty. You know, yes, there was a foul on Hart. Should Raskin have touched him? No, because he was never getting the ball. It was a mistake. Joe Hart, we know, is prone to mistakes. That's why he plays for Celtic. But quite clearly there, he is being fouled himself, Nicholas Raskin. Therefore, it should not be it should have been a penalty. I honestly believe that. Blue Nose John, evening Blue Nose. How you doing, buddy? Says if Rangers don't do something about the corruption in Scotland, then we would be as well applying to join the English league system. It's got merit, mate. It's got merit. You look at it and you just say, I don't know. You look at it and you think, well, how can it be that in this year? I mean, let's just take this year in isolation, and you go through the old firms that we've had this year, just in isolation, and you look at the first old firm at Ibrox, and you look at the Kamar Roof goal that was disallowed. To me, Cyril Dessers does nothing wrong in that moment. He gets in front of Larga Bielka. Larga Bielka kicks him and falls over because of it. No point to any of the Celtic players appeal for that decision. So I don't understand why that is then given as a foul, because it is not a foul to me. As someone who has a refereeing qualification, I'm not pretending I'm the best ref. I'm a Rangers fan, of course I am, so I'm going to obviously be accused of bias. But for me, that's not a foul. It's Larga Bielka kicks the back of Dessers. It's his own stupid fault. Therefore, it is definitely, definitely a goal that shouldn't be allowed. Should be allowed. Sorry, the Morelos goal last year should have stand. Alistair Johnson played a blinder on that with his dive. The Seamer, the handball from Alistair Johnson is a penalty. You know, the goal. I think the goal that was chalked up at Ibrox by Dessers' goal, Lawrence does, to be fair, foul whoever that Korean guy is, or that Chinese guy, or Japanese guy, or whatever Far East Asian country he's from. He does foul him, so I think that's fair enough. But that one yesterday, for me, is a penalty. Yes, the goal should have been called off because it was a push, but it should have been a penalty to Rangers. But let's face it, is Nick Walsh going to have the balls to give a penalty against Celtic in a cup final to give Rangers the lead? No, of course he's not. Of course he's not. Cantwell's way down the list of players to get rid of for me, but seems to be top of Clemons, which is worrying, says David P. I'm not going to spend too long on the Cantwell thing because I have just released a video on it, so I will get to that. Well, go and watch that if you want to talk about, obviously, about Cantwell, about whether we should be sold or not. Stuart in the summer last year was a net spend of about 7 million in all. They made out as though they spent 20 million plus out of their own pockets. They haven't got the financial capabilities to run a club like us. RFC 72, I have been saying this all along, that this net spend rumor that went round is just ridiculous. There is no such thing as this massive net spend that is allegedly out there. The net spend was never there. The net spend was offset by the sales of Kamara, was offset by the sales of was offset, of course, by the sales of Fashion Sakala, of Antonio Cholak. So for me, at the end of the day, we didn't spend a massive, huge amount of money, last summer. That's just not the case. It's just not true at all. So for me, I don't think that's the case at all. I don't think that is the case at all. Okay, let's try to get some comments. Guys, I'm really struggling to keep all your comments now. If I do miss your comment, I do apologize. I'm going to try and get back to some comments now. I've just gone through it. DL2 Modder, member for 4 months. Congratulations to DL2. Thank you very much for that. Scott says, once our goal was disallowed, I thought we'd find a way to lose. Absolutely. How many times has Butland made any mistakes this season? Not often, buddy, not often. Defense done nothing to close O'Reilly down. I could see that goal coming for. I think, it was the same, wasn't it, as as that one. Hey, Scott, how you doing, guys? Please obviously check out the Rangers Journal. Great new podcast, great new channel. Scott Mackay, my good buddy's on that. So yeah, please check it out whenever it's on. And please, if you haven't subscribed to the Rangers Journal, hit that sub for Scotty. Obviously, yeah. And Scotty has a pod tomorrow at 6:30. I will be watching tomorrow. So yeah, please obviously get on there. Scotty, if you ever want me to come on the Journal, give me a shout. Tav couldn't keep up yesterday. Won't be any better next season. It'll only get slower. I agree with this. Our biggest problem isn't players. Our biggest problem is the board, who are even too scared to talk to the fans, even say their plans. Absolutely. Defense has done nothing. We had that comment. Let's get back on with this comments now. I think we should make a change now before it goes Pete Tong in September, October. Bring in a pragmatic British manager, says Blue Nose. He's done with Clement. I saw someone on Rangers Reddit subreddit saying, fuck you, Butland, after we conceded disgrace. Some people aren't giving him the credit for what he's done this season. I think, there are some fans who will react like that. Yeah, Sarah, I think we're all in a bit of a rubbish mood after yesterday. Yes, Curry, it should be. Curry is on tomorrow night. Reminder, we have Curry tomorrow at 8:35 doing a season review with me. Look back because happy memories growing up watching Gaza, Laudrup, Alberts, Gorham, good God, what players we had. Aldo, too right, buddy. I mean, we were spoiled as kids growing up. We were spoiled, or young adults, or whoever you were, watching the likes of Gaza and Alberts and Rickson and Michael Moles and Nacho Novo, just the quality we used to have. Fantastic. But Walsh to say Sterling wasn't getting the ball, but Hart was, is a joke. Absolutely. And that's another one that came up yesterday, wasn't it, Janet? The whole Sterling getting booked decision was utterly ludicrous. I mean, it was a fantastic tackle from Sterling. I think it kind of gets a little bit to the point where you've got to start asking questions about refereeing. You really have got to start asking questions about the refereeing. Is it that referees are just genuinely rubbish in Scotland? Is it they're genuinely poor? I mean, to me, a message must be sent to the SFA. If you're sitting there as a member of the SFA board, as Neil Doncaster, and none of your refs are going to UEFA Euro 2024, and instead they've called up an Argentinian referee, a South American referee, to come across and referee Euro Championship games. What does that say to you as a federation about the standard of your referees, as the quality of your referees? That your referees aren't getting picked to referee major European ties. They aren't getting picked for Euro Championships. They probably won't be picked for the next World Cup. What message is that sending about the standard of your referees and your refereeing in your country? Now, there's a whole other debate about, our refs. I've got to be careful here because of legal consequences, but are refs favouring one team over another in games? Are refs, against one team or rather than another? Are refs more likely to punish one team rather than another team? That's a debate, and it's a discussion. And, I think it's one that has to be had. And I honestly think that someone needs to sit down, and I think the SFA missed a massive opportunity this last month when they appointed Willie Collum as the head of referees to go out and get somebody who was neutral, to go out and get somebody who wasn't from the Scottish game, to come and take a real root and branch overhaul of the standards in Scottish refereeing. I hold out absolutely no hope at all that Willie Collum will do anything to improve the standards of our games officiating. You can criticise VAR all you want, but there's nothing actually wrong with VAR. VAR as a system is perfect. What it is, it's the idiots that are behind the screen that are making the mistakes, the morons that are watching the channels, the morons that are watching the computer screen that make the mistakes. The computer doesn't actually have any mistakes in it. In fact, if you could design an AI system that actually took the decisions out of humans' hands, it would probably be a lot more perfect. Look at Hawkeye, for example, in tennis. Janet, got to agree with that comment there. Well done to Rangers ladies who did what the men couldn't do today. Who goes out in the summer is more important than who comes in. Tav, Goldson and Lundstrom all need to leave. I agree 100% with that comment, David. A time to clear out, a time to change. I've got a video planned for tomorrow, which is entitled Revolution Now, Not Evolution. That is coming out tomorrow, talking about what the 4-point plan that I've got for Rangers to get back to where we should be. Outside refs have said fouls were actually committed on Raskin. A penalty should have. Yeah, absolutely, Sonny. Yeah, you get English refs looking at this game. You get English refs watching this game and saying the same thing. It is a situation where it should have been a penalty. He was being fouled. That was the first foul. The first foul was not Raskin on Hart. The first foul was Taylor on Raskin. So yes, it should have been a penalty. It absolutely should have been a penalty. It's a corner with loads of pushing. Why can't you isolate the VAR check to one? Why was it just one thing that was checked? Why was it only one thing that was checked? Great comment. At the end of the day, why does the ref go over and review it and all he sees is the push on Hart? Why does he not see Taylor holding Raskin? Why does he not see the other fouls going on in that video still? It would be interesting, I think, to get Nick Walsh to come out and comment. Now, one thing that I've always said, as someone who watches the game and I watch a reasonable amount of football. I watch obviously all the Rangers games. I watch English Championship football. I watch English Premier League football. I watch La Liga. I watch Serie A. One thing I've always said is refs need to be held accountable for decisions. And for me, at the end of the game, refs should come out and have to explain their decisions. Refs should come out and have to talk through, was that not a foul? Why was that a penalty and not why was this not a penalty? So for me, refs need to be held accountable for the decisions they're making. For definite. What else have we got here? We've got a comment here from David as well. I'll bring your comment up, David. David says, Scott B, me too. I hope so. I'm not counting my chickens until the official announcement. Every old firm we get screwed. It seems that way at this moment in time. 100% proper collector. Stuart says, if that's a push, why was Dessers not given a pen in the Hearts game for a blatant push? Because they said Dessers wasn't getting the ball and Hart wasn't getting. That's a great point, actually. I wish I remembered that one. That's another thing. They said the foul on Dessers wasn't a foul because at the end of the day, he wasn't getting the ball. But then they say that yesterday Hart was getting the ball. Well, watch it back. There's no way Hart is getting that ball. Absolutely no way he's getting the ball. Absolutely crazy. Tavern Goldson will only leave the Saudis come in. If not, they'll be here for 2 more years, I think, says Scott B. Scott, if Tavern Goldson are still here next season, the problem continues. It's not just about the fact that, that Clement may use them on the field and the fact that they're not up to it anymore. It's also about the fact that I think they poisoned the dressing room. You've got to look at the fact that how many managers has Tav seen off? How many managers has Goldson seen off? And for me, they've got to go. They have to go. Their time is up. Absolutely. Oh, apparently, I'm being a racist. Okay, let me see. That person is getting banned for that comment because I'm not a racist at all. Ridiculous comment. Scott Wright, Christ Almighty, man. Yeah, Tap was saying. Yeah. I've got rid of that sad Tarrier now, Curry. It should have been a penalty for Celtic for Davies handball. It wasn't called for a VAR review as there could have only been one decision, says Vincent McNabb. Vincent, that has actually been reviewed now by the I think it was by Dermot Gallagher, the English referee and Celtic fan, and he says it was not a penalty. It would not have been given because of the distance the ball has to travel and the fact that his arm is in a normal position. Therefore, it is not a penalty. So, Vincent, you were actually wrong on that one. You've got a professional referee from the English Premier League saying it's not a penalty. It was a push, especially nowadays with VAR. Yes, goalkeeper probably does get too much protection, but come on, Hart, never had a save to make. That's how shit we are. Pretty true. Absolutely. Going to quick flick through some of your points now whilst I'm talking. Guys, Geordie makes a great point here. Geordie, this is a great point, buddy. This is a fantastic point that he makes here. Why has it gone now? Let's try and find it. Here we go. Geordie says that we should have independent. I've lost your comment, Geordie. I do apologize. I've lost loads of comments. Sorry, guys. I agree. You know, we should have definitely had having international refs, independent refs refereeing Scotland in Scottish games. I think Raskin didn't complain. I don't think he would because he knew he pushed him at the end of the day. He can't complain really. It was a foul on Hart, but the fact remains that he was fouled before that. Mickey the Mouth, the best team did not win in the end, so you're talking shit again as a typical Celtic fan. Go back to your mum, who's also your missus. That Davis incident couldn't have been given. How is Davis supposed to move his arm? It's also took a deflection. James, that was the point that Dermot Gallagher made. It was not a penalty at all. We were the better team in the second half. I'm surprised that goal didn't stand, says Steve. We were the better team in the second half. Why, David? That's a question I think that Philippe Clement will be asking him. Why did you push him? There was literally no reason to push him at all. Guys, 206 people watching. Please, obviously, can you smash that like? And if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please sub to the channel. Help support moderators. Please, can you make sure that you are banning any Tarriers that are in the chat? Raskin apparently pushed Hart into Mount Florida. Thing that way, didn't the way he went flying. Hands in Hart, how was he meant to push him if he was pulled back? Good point. I'm sure the championship clubs would take Tavern Goldson, says Dreamcatcher. Dermot Gallagher puts on a fake accent to talk on TV. His real voice is Irish. Yeah, you're right, Butler. He has got a very strong Dublin accent. You actually heard he did a podcast not so long back. And you actually, if you listen to him, he's got a really strong Irish accent. And he is a Celtic fan. He is a dyed-in-the-wool Celtic fan. So for him to come out and say that was never a penalty on Davis, and the fact that the initial foul should have been a penalty to Rangers, I think is quite telling. That a guy like that is capable of obviously standing there and being very independent and neutral. Clement blabbering about 6 clear changes. Yet again, he sees matches where the rest of the world see the goalie not having a save to make. The man's deluded. If he never pushes the goalie, it will still be a goal. In-swinging corners were causing problems. They were. So yes, they certainly were, David. Absolutely. Raskin pushed a bit of wood because he was getting pulled back and cheats. Evening, Caleb. How you doing, buddy? Look, I think, we lost the game and we can blame Nick Walsh. Look, Nick Walsh was absolutely shocking yesterday. He was absolutely appalling. Of course he was. He was poor as anything. But we've got to kind of get away from that. We've got to kind of get to a situation where, look, one of the real reasons we lost yesterday was because of the fact that we weren't good enough. The fact that we didn't create enough chances. We didn't put the ball in the back of the net. And this has been the story pretty much all season for me, for Rangers this year. That, against them, we've had a decent XG, but good goals. We just have not put the ball in the back of the net. We have not taken our chances. We are missing goals from midfield. We are missing goals from up front. We are missing dependable people. We had 11 shots yesterday, 4 of which were on target. We were out possession 64 to 36 yesterday, but 4 shots on target. But we didn't. I can't remember Hart having a save to make in that game, and that is one of the biggest problems that we have, is the whole system where we do not put the ball in the back of the net on a regular enough basis. We need to take referees out of the equation by buying better players. Great point. Fantastic point. We do. We need to stop it being down to what the refs do. We need to put it down to the fact that it's actually, it's us that loses these games. And I saw a great tweet earlier. I think it was 4 lads said, look, was the referee poor? Yes, he was. Should that goal have stood? Yes, it probably should have stood in either as a penalty or, whatever. Should we have had a decision against us given for us so when Sterling got pushed over? Yes. But were we good enough? No, we weren't. Did we put the ball in the back of the net? No, we didn't. Did we make Joe Hart make any outstanding saves to keep them in the game? No, we didn't. And that's part of the problem. We are not putting the ball in the back of the net on a regular basis. Yeah, Dream Crush, I am too. Fed up with hard luck stories. We've got to be putting a team together that takes the problem out of us relying on referees not making mistakes. And that look, refs in Scotland are shit. We're up, unless the SFA do something about these referees, it isn't going to get any better. But we've got to put it into a situation where we are taking it out of their hands. We are taking our chances, putting the ball in the back of the net on a regular basis. And that's what we need to be doing. If Walter Smith was the manager, he would have had us pumped up for that game. Absolutely. And the statue, I've got to say, the statue is absolutely fantastic. Tactics are spot on. If we had the quality, we would have won. Exactly. But if we'd had someone who put the ball in the back of the net, I do apologize. Oh, sorry about that. I'll have to try. I will work on that one. Sorry, John. There's an advert. I didn't know it's YouTube. We did put the ball in there and we stole it away. I know. What I'm saying is we need to put it in the back on a more consistent basis, though, Robert. We don't do that. Top to bottom, board, medical staff, all needs seeing to because these injuries are worrying. I agree. This is all part of my plan. Like I said, we need revolution, not evolution. We are going to talk about that on the video tomorrow. You could probably put the ball in the net from outside the box. Refs in Scotland would probably find a reason for a VAR review. Probably true. What would happen if we'd walked off with those three big mistakes in ref and VAR? Absolutely. I see. Absolutely. If Joe's Hart wasn't a foul, Fabio Silva's wasn't a penalty last game. What have we got? VAR is corrupt to the core. I don't think there's an issue with VAR. I think the problem is with the people who watch the games, watch the VAR computers. I don't genuinely think the problem is with the computers. It's with the guys who are watching the game. And I think the issue we've got is the fact that the people who are watching the game, who are watching the VAR computers, who are taking decisions as the VAR officials, are the same idiots who are on the pitch making those decisions and making those mistakes. John Beaton was the VAR official yesterday. John Beaton is an awful referee. We've seen the same with Don Robertson when he was VAR official, when Kevin Clancy was, when Woody Collin was in that Old Firm game at Parkhead. So for me, it's not the VAR system that's the issue. It's the people that are running the VAR system that are the issue. The computer doesn't make a mistake. It's not the computer that takes the decision. In fact, I would argue that if the computer made the decision, it would get it right. What else have we got? We would have won a lot more games if we kept Cholak. That's a good shout from Caleb. Butland could score for his goal line and be offside playing against that mob. Lol. If the Tim's refs need refs from the other countries, they would pay to ref it. Probably. Sarah says, we just need better simple as. Yes, the refs are always rubbish. There's always seems to be some sort of controversy in Old Firm games. We know there always will be. Get the ball in the net. Absolutely. Absolutely. How about a few home truths? Is that 1 point from a possible 12 against Celtic? Won the League Cup because Celtic went out in the first round. True. And as I said on the video this morning, this is not a successful season. This is not a good season for Rangers. This is a poor season for Rangers. A League Cup and a League Cup only is not a good return for Rangers. It's not acceptable. It isn't acceptable for a club like Rangers. We need to be winning leagues. We need to be winning doubles. We need to be winning on a regular basis. And just a League Cup is not acceptable. Now, I know fans who will sit there and say, Owen, you don't know what you're talking about. Owen, we've had a great season because we've won a League Cup. We got to the Scottish Cup final. We finished runner-up after the start we had. So we've had a brilliant season. And there are fans like that. Trust me, I know one fan in particular who lives across the Atlantic who will be thinking like that. But it's wrong. That's not the way to think. If you are thinking that way, you are part of the problem because this club is a great club and it can only get back to being a great club when we realise that what we are achieving now is not good enough. The way we are playing is not good enough. The standards we are currently maintaining are not good enough. The players we have at this moment in time are not good enough, and we need to improve them. If the governor's statue is amazing, just wonder how long before those scumbags across the city vandalised it. Ewan, that is a worry for me. VAR was brought in for clear and obvious errors, not every single tackle, offside or goal, for fuck's sake. Thing is, Geordie, apparently it's in the rules that every goal has to be VAR reviewed. That's north and south of the border. If it gets touched, I'll saw down the statue of Lennox in Saltcoats. Manager will be busy this summer. He will be, hopefully, although absolutely. What else have we got here? That was a goal. It took 10 minutes to find something as usual even. I love Todd Cantwell, but he needs to keep his mouth shut. Aldo agrees with me about something. Second place is no good for a club like Rangers, says Stephen. Absolutely, it isn't. It's not acceptable. 2 years ago, we were heading to the Europa final. We were. Petitions for these wrong decisions in England want rid and any penalty VAR not doing offside in Euros. Next season, Philip, whose season treble is ours with this team. Look, at the end of the day, we do need to expect better of this team. And the summer is going to be massive. The summer is absolutely huge. Of course it is. But at the end of the day, I don't know realistically how much money the board are going to give to Philippe Clement. I don't know what the expectation will be in terms of that. So the final votes in that poll are in, by the way. Should Cantwell be sold this summer? Yes, 50% or 51%. No, 40%. I'm going to launch one more poll for the rest of the podcast. Guys, Scott's has been at least 10 new players. I would say 9 to win the league next season. I'm going to launch a poll, guys. Starting a poll now. So there's a new poll now in the live chat. If you want to vote, please vote in that new live chat. I think it should have just gone up now. That's a good question. It's a good question there. Standards have plummeted since 20. Yeah, they have. I agree with Owen. We should be winning every game, including the Old Firm game. You're right, winning one cup is not good enough. We are better than that. The refs went on strike years ago. We had foreign refs. Yeah, we should have foreign refs back again. I think that's a good shout. 100% good shout. We need 10 new players. Why did PC push Cantwell? I mean, that's an interesting question. We'll get to that in a minute. What else have we got? If he can solve, we get money for better players. What else have we got in this live chat? Clement had spell of good luck. He's such an overrated manager, says Rory. How much money are we going to have for the rebuild RFC 56? And that's the question that everybody wants to ask is, is how much money the board going to give us? There's 202 people currently watching. Guys, please obviously smash the like and sub if you have not yet subbed. Remember, you can support the channel in a whole host of ways. If you do want to support the channel, obviously smash the super chat or super sticker button. Support. So, guys, look, this is massive this summer. This summer is all about, for me, getting this right. And as Philippe Clement said the other day, this is the end of a cycle. This is the end of an era, in effect. And we need to get back to winning ways. We need to do something to turn around the fortunes of our team. We really do. So, I don't honestly know what the situation is with that. We heard 35 million. Look, I'm not saying that we should know exactly how much the board are going to give Big Phil or going to give Niels Coppen to spend this summer, because no club comes out and says we've given our manager 35, 50, 65 million pounds. Because at the end of the day, that's the worst thing you can do, because then clubs are going to bump up the price. So that's ridiculous. We can't do, but as I said, I'd love to know how much it actually is. We can't keep changing managers. Hugh, that's a great point. We cannot turn into Chelsea or Watford. If we constantly are in this cycle of we get to October, we sack our manager, we get a new manager, we go, oh, well, let's wait till next season when he's got his own players to see how he does. And then we get to the end of that season and go, oh, he's not doing very well. And the season after, we get to October and we sack him. And then we go, oh, let's get a new manager. Let's wait and see how he does when he's got his players. We're going to be in a constant cycle where we are constantly next season. And they're going to get further and further ahead of us. And I think it's worth noting that they are now on 118 trophies, the same as us. So they are now joint level with us. So it's even more important that we win all 3 trophies next season to pull back ahead of them. Foreign refs, we were crying about them in Europe, where we weren't getting decisions. Make your minds up, says Football Fan. I know, although, especially with them getting Champions League money, I mean, we can still get Champions League money if we qualify for the Champions League. I think we do have to qualify for the Champions League. I think that is absolutely the case. I don't think he is. Red flags for me in Clement's very first interview. It's not hindsight. I said at the time he's worrying me with his comments in his first interview about not liking to buy players himself. I mean, I suppose that's why we've brought in Niels Coppen, Q Kanji. Come on, guys. Smash. Thank you very much for that one. That's a good one. That's why we have to win. Yeah, we did. Cantwell is too petulant. It disappears in the bigger games. Look at how embarrassed himself putting up a post telling people to shush when the title was already lost. Scott Kearney says, we still have a chance at Champions League money. We do still have a chance at Champions League money. If we win our qualifiers and we are seeded for those qualifiers, we can still get into the Champions League. And I think it's even more important that we do get into the Champions League this season, because we need to build that financial base. We need to build up the amount of money we have so we can bring in players and really get this trading model going. You can't keep a trading model running without money. And so look, the Champions League becomes even more vital, especially with the amount of money in the Champions League. Button, Dessers and Lammers will bring in the bulk of the budget, in my opinion, says David. So David's saying player sales are going to bring in the bulk of the budget. Any talk of the manager getting sacked is crazy. He's done what the majority of Rangers could do with this squad with all the injuries. The players bottling it against another year. Give him his players. Absolutely 100% agree with that one. Yeah, the problem is there's a lot of players in this squad that do need gone. They do need gone. Cute Kanji says, here, get the comment up, why not change managers? Would you rather 5 managers in 2 years and end up with a title, or one steady manager and 0 titles? That's a good question, Kanji, but changing managers consistently hasn't done us any favours recently, has it? This is our 3rd manager in the short space of I don't know how many years. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's not done well. We have got to stay positive. Probably 10 million plus 15 million from any player sales. The Chuckle brothers must go as they're a cancer in our dressing room. I suppose he's talking about Tav and Goldson there. 25 million available without sales, but Cortez, Seema and Dio take that. Can't keep sacking managers. Got to give Clement time to build. Agreed. We should have backed GVB and didn't. Players are stale. That's on the board. PC has to be given a minimum of 2 seasons, says King Rec. I think you're right there. I don't think Gio was backed. You've got to, if you're a referee, would you rule against them and have to risk having your windows smashed, your family threatened, private tattoos put on you, and worst of all, your children being bullied at school? I suppose that's something that's got to be addressed, hasn't it, in terms of referee safety? 3 years under Bennett, 3 new managers every summer, 3 huge rebuilds needed every summer, which none were done. I agree, RC72. There was no rebuild done last year at all. Only time we have won the title recently is when we gave the manager 3 seasons to build. That's correct. But when we give Gerrard time to build a squad. I agree with that comment from King Rec. Agreed, if GVB had been backed, who knows where we'd be now. Agreed. I think, if you look at the players that he wanted to bring in, the Ian Matsons, the Crescencio Somervilles of this world, I think we would have been in a very different position. David, I'll be honest with you. I think the reason he pushed him was because Cantwell had come onto the pitch after being subbed. He was having a go at the referee. I think Philippe was worried that Cantwell would get himself in more trouble, get himself a red card, because you can still get a red card even after you've been subbed. He'd then be suspended for next season, or he'd land himself in a whole host of trouble. I think that's why he shoved him away, if I'm being honest. I think that's probably why. Bring back Cholak, Sakala, and Arfield. Arfield would have put the ball around the side. He would have. I miss old Scotty. Miss Scotty. We need to be patient with Clement. Look at what Klopp did at Liverpool. It didn't happen in 1 year. Agreed, James. It didn't, did it? I don't care how many come in and out, as long as one of them hits it off, rather than leaving a fool in charge. Who's his teams are great and creating plenty when they aren't suffering from delusions. Scott, I certainly hope he will not be here next season. I've got to hope that he's not here next season. I really hope that Tav isn't here. Look, Tav has been a great servant for the club. I don't deny that for a minute. But Tav's time's up. His legs are gone. He's gone. I genuinely think that at the end of the day, I genuinely think that he is. He's finished. He's done. There comes a stage in every player's career where you realise that it's over. It's done and dusted. And for me, Tav's legs have gone. His speed's gone, and he's not got anything left in the tank. He needs to go and play in the MLS or the Saudi League or one of those retirement leagues. That's where he needs to go. My worry is we need a lot of new players, but it might take a few seasons to bed everyone in. Rangers manager don't get that time. They need to hit the ground running, and I can't see Celtic getting weaker. Dreamcatch, that's a good point. I think it was John Walker of This Is Ibrox made that point, about the fact that we do need to rebuild this summer. But do you think Celtic are going to stand still this summer, or do you think they're going to splash some cash? I think Celtic will strengthen this summer. At least there's good news for the qualifiers now in Benfica in the Champions League proper, so we won't have to face them. That's good news, King Rec. Cantwell shows more passion off the part than he does on it. He needs to disappear. He will it's his testimonial, ain't it? That's the only issue, obviously. But I don't think we can't allow players to just hang around to get their to get that extension. I don't think that's right. Geordie asks, do we give Balogun a year extension? Geordie, I think we do. I would keep Balogun around for next season. You know, you can't get rid of everybody. That's the issue. You cannot just throw everybody out with the bathwater. We do need a squad. We do need a squad. Balogun, to me, is a decent backup defender. Yes, he's going to be 36 next season, but I do think Balogun needs to stay. I'm not a sore loser, but the amount of disallowed goals versus Celtic ain't no coincidence. Scott likes Balogun. Clement got... Where have we gone? This comment can bring up now. Clement got the squad into the title race. No reason why he can't challenge with his own players. That's a good point. We need to stop Celtic getting 55, says Aldo. We do, absolutely, 100%. We've lost out on money with Kamara. Yeah, we haven't. So Leeds didn't get promoted. Southampton did today. So congratulations to Southampton on their promotion to the Premier League. But yeah, we don't get off £500,000 from the promotion of Kamara. I can see them buying, probably not buy well, as Rodgers hasn't got a good transfer record. He'll buy overpriced duds. I think you're right there, or did he? Yeah, I think you're right there, because you've got to look at that Leicester squad that he assembled that got relegated, that they were paying. I mean, that Leicester squad was essentially his squad. It had the 7th highest wage bill in the Premier League. It finished bottom 2 and got relegated. Balogun's a difficult one. Maybe he deserves a year, as we won't be a massive amount of money. Exactly, I agree. Big Balogun turned up yesterday, so maybe another year for backup. Yeah, I think that's right. 100%. You know, Utrecht beats less money for Lammers. Yeah, absolutely. We don't have 3 years to let our manager go without winning anything. The Gerrard situation was totally different. We would just back up. These players like Tavernier still have the underdog mentality, says Cube Kanji. We need winners. We do need winners. And I think what we need is a new young core to this team who are going to go out there and fight, who are going to, you know, go out there and have a go and going to show no fear. And I think some of it is as well down to the fact that this experienced core that we have a fear of Celtic. They have an innate fear of them. And there's so much scar tissue built up over the years that they can't beat them. And they genuinely can't. Cement Draw, I didn't notice Taylor Bear hugging Raskin at the time, but I seen it, replayed, flabbergasted. Absolutely, it was absolutely dreadful. What have we got here? Good comment here from David Hutchinson. I'm going to try and get your comment up, David, in a minute. David says in the live chat, Clement's the way forward. What else got here? Blue Nose John says, get a comment up. Celtic wasted 8 million on Lager, Bielka, and Naroki. They did. 100%. Yeah, keep Big Leon. He's a beast when he's fit. James says in the live chat, this next season is about as important as the COVID season. We can't let Celtic go ahead of us in terms of trophies. We need to win at least a double next season. Absolutely 100% correct. We do need to win at least a double next season. Look, people think real life football is FIFA or Football Manager. If we do a full rebuild, it's going to take time, whether we like it or not. But we need to see progression. I think RFC 72, that is a superb point you make there. It is all about making progression. It is about moving forward. It is about getting better. It is about making this team a whole lot better as well. So, yeah, please obviously smash that like. The blatant push on Sterling by Scales was another head scratcher. Why is that not looked at by VAR? Sharpie could call. I don't know why. It's a clear and obvious error. Look, yesterday was disappointing. I'm not going to deny that. It was really disappointing. I actually watched the game at work. I was on my phone. I was doing reductions and I was watching it on my phone. That midfield, Diamande and Raskin was really good yesterday. It was. He has legs. I thought Raskin had a good game yesterday. What about a striker then? I can't see us buying big as have Danilo and Dessers unless he goes. I think we will buy a striker. I don't see Dessers as being the answer. I think Dessers is third choice at best, Danilo perhaps second. I do think we do need to bring in a striker, and I do think Clement realises we need to bring in a striker, King Rek. As a fan base, we need to make sure we don't buy into the board's propaganda. A Brazilian left-back that couldn't get a game for Apoel, Liam Kelly as the goalkeeper, is not making the squad better. No, I agree with you, Kyle. It's about, I suppose, building a squad. It is not, I suppose, a starter squad. I think, you've got to look at it this way, mate. I think you've got to look at it in terms of the fact that Tefte is probably going to be back up to Ridvan. Liam Kelly is hopefully going to be back up to Jack Butland. It's just about having a more experienced, better quality backup, I think, in the long run. Thank you to Cute Kanji. That's very generous of you. £5 super sticker. Thank you for that. What else have we got? James says we need to replace Roof and Fabio Silva. We do need to replace. What else have we got? Butler says Des is the third sort of striker on first choice wages, though. True. If VAR reckons the Sterling instinct was outside the box, isn't a penalty, so they don't get involved. True. I suppose I think that was more on Nick Walsh, to be honest with you, CGM 55 to get that right. Yeah, Dio busted a gut yesterday. He did. Absolutely. Won multiple titles on FIFA. You're trying to tell me don't mean anything. No, don't. Sorry. Who do we bring in as our first striker next year? That's a great question, Geordie. There's a good video actually on Rangers Journal about that. Check it out. No more net spend of zero. Board, get off light. I agree with you. The board have actually made a net spend profit over the last 4 transfer windows. Yeah, absolutely. I agree on that one, Sharpie. I think that's pretty accurate, buddy. 2 CBs and 1 striker needed with the utmost importance. I agree, Smoke. We do need to bring in 2 dominant centre backs and a striker with massive prominence there. Yes, progression next season is key with vastly changed squad, 2 or 3 old firm wins. Agree, we've got to turn the tide in the old firm. It has to start next season. We have to win that first old firm of the season. Sell Lammers for excess of 6 million. So this is what we paid for him. That pays for Shankland and Miovski, says Kyle. I'd take Shankland and Miovski tomorrow. I honestly think, buddy, if we did if we had signed Shankland or Miovski this January transfer window, we would have won the league. I genuinely think we would have won the league if we'd signed Shankland and the Cup this season. If we'd signed those 2, I think that would have made a huge difference to this squad. I really do. No worries, buddy. I'm going to go in a minute, so I've got to go and walk the dog. I've got a 5 a.m. start at work in the morning. Sorry, Bear's got to go. Things to do early night. Enjoy bank holiday. Thank you. Bottom line, Butland cost us the game. He had 1 save to make all game and shut the bed. That's the reason why keepers like him and Hart are in Scotland levels. Says Stuart. Hopefully get some cash for Cifuentes too. Yeah, 2 mil, I think it is. Chris Jack basically said we're not going for Shankland. I think that's a mistake myself if we don't go and get someone like Shankland. If Tav does go, would you start starting right back? No, I wouldn't. I would sign a new right back. I honestly think that he's a better player in the midfield. Honestly do. 100% think he's a better player in the midfield. Seema is a problem. What will Brighton want for him? I wouldn't go over 5 for him. His injury record probably halves his value. I think as well, CGM, you've got to take into the account, I think he's only got 18 months left on his deal as well. Yeah, I've got work tomorrow, guys. Unfortunately, Bobby says that AZ Alkmaar are putting a 6 million bid for Lammers. That would be good amount of money to get for him. Obviously, whenever that money is paid, whether it's paid up front or not. Keep Balogun from the season, better defender than Tav and Golson. I agree with Sharpie very much so. Wow, guys, it's been a full-on one tonight. I've been trying to keep up with your comments. Apologies if I have missed your comments tonight. It has been fantastic talking to you again. A little bit cathartic, a little bit like a therapy session after what has been a very disappointing weekend for Rangers, a disappointing season for Rangers too. We go again, guys. We go again. We've got Cute Kanji. You are right. Walter Smith. Sir Walter would have signed Shankland and Ferguson. I agree with you 100%. He would have done that. Guys, the channel's got so much coming up over the next few months, days, weeks, etc. Obviously, we'll still continue to bring you news and opinion videos right throughout the summer. We are not going anywhere at all. We'll obviously, I will, Butler, I will. I will, of course, be continuing to bring you daily content with news and opinion, looking at all the latest transfer rumours, transfer stories, hopefully all the signings, all the outgoings. We will continue to do podcasts right through the summer as well. I'm thinking about perhaps doing a couple of watch-alongs from the European Championships. Also, one idea that I was given the other day was somebody said about doing classic watch-alongs, perhaps re-watching old games. I don't know if you'd be up for that. Let me know in the comments. Guys, loving the pods. Thanks for making a crap season a little bit better. No worries, Kyle. 72, it's seen better days, more Rabsy Nesbitt stars suit these days, lol. Yeah, so guys, we won't be going anywhere. We've obviously got big plans for the channel in 24-25, so please obviously stay with us. Best way to make sure you don't miss out, obviously, is to smash that sub and obviously ring the notification bell. Then you won't miss out on any of the free content. If you do want to donate money to the channel, become a member, or obviously as well, you can obviously act like Cute Kanji did, give a super sticker or give a super chat. Good ways to support the channel. Thank you for that. Guys, been a pleasure as always. A quiz, David, that's a good shout. I'll note that one down. Yeah, if you've got any ideas, guys, please drop me a message, drop me a comment, drop me an email, Glasgow Rangers Nation at gmail.com. Please obviously drop me a message there as well. Thank you so much for watching. As always, guys, as Butler said, I will always ask two things of you. Number one, please, on the way out, smash that like to defeat that evil algorithm. And number two, remember always, never forget, we are the people.